All right, guys. I thought we would take away Justin Timberlake today and get a little Michael Jackson in here. How are you guys doing? Let me stop this. Let me get out of this.
Awesome.
Did you guys like the Michael Jackson?
Who doesn't?
Woo whoop. All right. So thanks for coming on, you guys. Let me go ahead and stop the share so I can see you all. There we go. How is everybody doing? Good? All right. So if you guys are new to my Zooms, I do ask that you guys turn on your camera. This is a way that I know you guys are not falling asleep and I'm not boring you guys. And if anything is not working, I can see you guys and you guys can give me the thumbs up, thumbs down, and everything like that. So I just like to see your guys' lovely faces and know that you guys are following along with me. So I'm so glad that you guys could join me. And we have Brian, the broker from the Curve. So if you have not met him, he is here with us today. I have, I know a couple of you have asked for a broker to join us. And so I have listened to your guys' request and he is here with us. The reason why Brian is here is on many of my marketing Zooms, you guys, I have talked about we have to think outside of the box today in our marketing world. We just can't do the normal things that we have been so used to doing. So one of the things that I have really thought about and have read that have been very successful is doing Q&As on the weekends. Saturday, Sundays, this is something that you can add in your door droppers or in your mailers is doing a Q&A with your customers or potential customers. You know, I have been getting so many door droppers lately or in the mail saying, hey, you want to know what your home is worth? Here's a free home analysis. To be honest, those go straight in the garbage. I don't even pay attention to them or anything like those. You're not going to stay top of mind with those free home analysis. I turn on the news or I read Facebook or anything like that, and we all know how fake the news is right now. So everything and anything is showing us that we're going for a market crash. We as real estate agents know that that is false. We have had Guild on our Tuesday morning meetings telling us that that is false. They are not seeing that on a lender side. We're not seeing that on a real estate side. So we need to let our potential clients know that that's not what's happening. They are fearful. They are seeing what the mainstream media is telling them, and we need to reassure them that that is not happening. And so I think from a marketer standpoint is we need to offer those Q&As on the weekends and say, hey, you know, in our mailers from 10 to noon or whatever you guys, wherever you guys are free, you know, I'm going to set up a Q&A through Facebook or a Zoom. Here's my Zoom link. And I am here to answer all of your guys' questions. And I will let you guys know where the market is standing. You guys let me know what questions you guys have, and I will answer them honestly. If you guys want to get your guys' Guild person involved in this, they are more than willing to help you guys out on a Saturday or a Sunday. I have talked to them. They are more than willing to jump in on a Q&A with you if you guys need them to. So I have talked about this in my previous marketing Zooms before, and we've had agents be like, you know what, but what if we get these questions that we're just not comfortable answering? So what if we have a broker come on and we can answer, or we can ask these questions that we don't feel comfortable answering, so then we can feel comfortable doing these Q&As. And so I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So that is why Brian is here. So you guys can go ahead and answer those questions. And I don't want you guys to feel frustrated when you guys start doing these, because probably the first two, maybe three, you're probably going to have 0 to 1 on. But keep doing them, because you are eventually going to start getting those people coming on. I don't want you to get discouraged, like I said, when you see just that one person on. They will come. You build it, they will come. I'm a baseball person, guys. Laugh. Ha ha. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So when you guys, so when that is, you just keep going, you keep going. They will come. Keep putting it out there. You guys are gonna have 0, but it's gonna be out there on your Facebook. It's gonna be shared. They're gonna start seeing that and be like, oh, okay. Well, okay, I'm gonna come to her next one and actually ask my question. So they're just gonna see it and they're gonna come. They're gonna start answering or asking those questions. So I am going to open it up to Brian, and I'm going to open it up to all of you guys. So if you guys want to take yourself off of mute and start asking those questions that you think that those clients are going to ask, that you feel like are going to be those tough questions that you feel like you are going to struggle on, that you would like to help get those answered. So Brian, you're here.
Yes.
Agents, you asked for them. So let's hear it.
Anybody have a question off the top?
All right. Come on, guys.
Well, let's just do basic. Then I didn't ask for a broker, but I'm so glad that you're here, Brian. But let's just do the basic one. How about this one? So I hear the market's going to crash. What do you say about that?
Okay. So what's the number one thing that we always want to do is ask questions and to get clarity. Okay. So you could say kind of what Nicole just mentioned. Yeah, you see a lot of things on the news all over the place right now. What information have you heard about the market crashing?
Perfect.
Okay. So you'd go through and you would tell me everything that you've heard. Oh my gosh, the doom and gloom, this, the that. Oh, there's foreclosures and whatever going on, right? Okay. What you want to do as well is ask questions to find out exactly what they're talking about. Just like when we say, when somebody says, how's the market doing? You don't just come back and say, oh my God, it's crazy. You come back and say, well, what part of the market you talking about? Buying or selling, right? Because you're clarifying, you're trying to clarify what are they looking for and where is their resources of information coming from, okay? The way that I refer to it, and I've used this analogy in my office several times, is I play Nerf wars with my son, right? We have Nerf dart guns. And so what we'll do is we'll run around the house, and he normally always gives me the Nerf dart gun that has like a 2-shooter thing, or maybe the 1-shooter. Well, he has like the machine gun that's got like 50, right? And so what I do is I just dodge and weave, and as he's shooting and missing me, I go by and I pick up the bullets. And I just keep picking bullets up through the entire time, throw my pocket, and I still got my 2 shots left, right? So he shoots all of his shots at me. I've got all the bullets now in my pockets, and then I just go around and I start reloading 1 or 2 at a time, and I just start plucking away at him, right?
Good.
The same analogy with our clients. You want to just let them shoot all the Nerf darts at you. Get all their concerns out of the way, have all the conversations, ask all the questions from them, get them talking about their perspective, let them shoot all their darts at you, and then that way now you're armed, and then you can go back with them. Did they hear it from Cousin Vinny? Was Cousin Vinny the one who, who's never bought a house in his entire life, the one saying it's gonna crash? Or, do they major in economics and they just went to a conference last week and they had a whole economic study or something that they're referring from? You have no idea their background. So
exactly.
Right. So I always say, let them shoot their dart guns at you, the Nerf darts, and then take it from there. Okay.
That's a pretty good analogy, Brian. Wow.
Where can you get your information from? So, Nicole, can I share a screen with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I advise you guys to do is always remember showing is better than telling. Okay. So if you have your toolbox, right, a handyman or a contractor, he's got a whole toolbox of tools in his truck. He doesn't bring them all in. Okay. He goes in, takes a look at the job, goes, oh, I need a hammer and I need some nails. Okay. He doesn't bring everything in. So the same philosophy is here with you guys. You guys are going to go in, have all the stuff in your toolbox ready to show if necessary when you're going to a listing appointment, listing consultations or buyer's consultations. But if you guys go to Can you guys see that screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. So does everybody here have access to the Wordly Hub? Yes? Okay. So if you don't, please check with your office admin and make sure you get access today to the Wordly Hub, because there's tons of resources there for you guys. But everybody has access to this section here, which is first off, Wordly YouTube, which is Nicole's channel. Okay, very important there. And then I want to go to Keeping Current Matters. Right here, this Keeping Current Matters tab is a great resource for you guys to have information from for a national perspective, which is all about this conversation that you just asked Celeste regarding what's the market going to do, okay? So if you go on here, there's this national updates one, which I will update this week coming up. And there's buyer's guides, and then there's PowerPoint for the last update, okay? So there's a video from the last update. You can watch the 20-minute video, and you can go to these slides. Here's one of the slides that explains everything Celeste that you just talked about. People are talking about foreclosures like crazy right now, right?
Hey, Brian,
Yep.
if this is all national, if someone says, yeah, I know, but Vegas is different, I want to know about our city and our numbers. Is there a place you would recommend to go to for that?
Yeah, it correlates exactly the same. I'll show you guys.
Okay.
So, but I'd start the subject off on a national. Just this one site alone covers it all. So this is showing actual inventory right now, January 2021. Here is all the potential foreclosures for 2021 nationally. There's about 325,000 foreclosures nationally. If we were to add all those today on top of our current inventory on a national perspective, we'd still be below the inventory we're at last year at this time. So if we were to flood the market today with everything we had, our possible foreclosures, that's what we're looking at. We're still below inventory from last year. Okay. So I love this slide because it just tells a story. Once again, it's showing versus telling, right?
This is great info. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this was on there.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, imagine from Nicole's perspective for marketing, you guys are doing the Q&As, right? I mean, you have this available to show them. Hey, look, guys, look, this is why I think this. And you could share your Zoom on it or your Facebook Live, show the page, right? Okay. So these are just ideas. So there's a whole bunch of other slides here, but I love this one because it addresses that concern. Everybody's concerned about this red mark right here, and it's still below inventory, okay? So, Karin, to your question, what data do we want to have? Well, and while we're waiting for that, I'm pulling this up. Any other questions or concerns? I'll make sure you guys, we get to everybody has a chance to ask a question if they want.
I have another question.
What you got?
Okay. So I have a few I wrote down. Thank you, Nicole, for giving me a heads up. I'm interested in putting my house on the market. What, as an agent, do you recommend I do to my house? Like, my carpet is seen better days. What changes should I make?
Okay. So what changes? Gotcha. Okay. We'll get to that. Let me show you this real quick. So here's what I would show. Once again, show, not just tell. Everybody's concerned about the flooding of properties coming out of the market, right? So let's look at actives and coming soons. How many foreclosures do you guys think are in Las Vegas Valley right now? Any ideas?
20.
20?
251.
8. 8 foreclosures currently on the market.
Wow.
Okay.
Crazy.
What about short sales? 10.
Wow.
Okay. And REOs, repos, REOs, 11. So we got about 30, 29 or so total listings, distressed type sales right now out of 3,000 over 3,000 listings.
Brian, do you think this is going to change though come June or July?
Projected, no.
Really?
Yeah. So why would people go into foreclosure?
Because they
Once again, do you see, I'm asking questions.
Okay. So, but then they'll have a year after that. So then next year, would there be a big crash?
Okay. Once again, well, I'm still asking some questions. So why do people go into foreclosure?
Because they're behind on their payments.
Because they're behind their payments, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if somebody's behind on their payments and they had equity in their house, do you think they'd make the choice to have their house foreclosed on, or just sell their house, cash out their equity, and move on somewhere else?
Sell their house, but then why are we low on selling, homes for sale right now?
Because statistically, people can still pay for their houses. Because if we go back to our KCM update, here's 58.8. These are people that exited forbearance already since COVID started.
Okay.
51% have paid off their forbearance in full. Almost 26% have worked on a loan deferral program. 7.8 have done modification. There's about roughly 15.6 that are in trouble. That's at 325,000 houses.
That's not bad.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. So, and these people here are somewhat in trouble. The market just increased 13% year over year. So if somebody had 13% increase and it's going to cost them about, say, roughly 8% or so to sell their house, do they still have equity in their home? They do, right? So do you think somebody would take the option of cashing their house out, walking away with a little bit of equity, or having their house foreclosed on?
Walking away.
Walking away from the house, right?
Yeah.
Sell the house, walk away with a little bit of equity, not go through the foreclosure process, right? But see, I'm getting there by asking some questions along the way. And obviously they're leading questions, but it's because I have the data that I have backed up here.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
This is another good slide to use when you get those questions.
For sure. Yep. Everything in here I absolutely love.
Okay.
All this information is great.
Perfect.
Okay. Right. Any more questions on regarding the foreclosure thing? Because that's a very common question right now, right? So we got Karen's question of what should I do to my house? Okay. So Karen, what I would say back to you is, well, let me ask you, would you like to price your house as is, or would you like to make repairs to it? You're muted. Yeah.
I would like to get top dollar.
Okay. So
but I don't have a lot of money to put into it. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, but yeah.
Okay, so not a lot of money put into it, but you would like to get top dollar for it. Okay, so put yourself in the buyer's eyes right now. Okay, so don't step out of the seller's shoes for a moment for me, and put yourself in the buyer's shoes. If you were to walk into your home, in your prospective buyer, what are some things right off the bat that you think, you know what, I wish it would have this, or this was cleaner? You mentioned carpet as an example. Okay, is there anything else that you would say about your home?
No.
No, carpet would be the main thing. Okay. And do you feel carpet's expensive or fairly inexpensive to replace?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. Okay. So is that an expense that you'd want to take on or not?
Well, if you tell me I have to, then I guess I do, but.
Well, we don't have to do anything. I mean, believe me, any property is going to sell for the right price. And I understand you want to get top dollar. So yeah, investing a little bit in your property might help you, might benefit you as well. But if you don't want to go through that process and through the financial part of it, then you could always price your property as is and not have to replace that carpet.
Okay.
Could you increase your sales price slightly by increasing carpet? Yeah, you possibly could. But see, I'm asking questions. I'm getting her reference point. And she said, oh, carpet's cheap. What would my path go down then? Well, you know what? That's probably a very inexpensive, quick fix that you could do. Replace some carpet and padding, get that fresh look to it, paint some walls, because in her mindset, then that's cheap. That's easy. Not a problem at all. But she came to me with the mindset of, oh, it's expensive. So I'm not going to walk her down the path of saying, well, you have to do it then. Because she doesn't have to do it. Right now, will her property sell with junk carpet? It will, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely will. right? So now could she get a little bit more for carpet? You know, if she's put, you know, 3,000 in carpet in, could she get a little more out of it? Could she get 4,000 or 5,000 in return? Possibly. But right now we're probably going to bid it up anyways. So Karin, what I'd say to that is always kind of get their reference point, ask questions so you can kind of see what their tolerance levels are. Some people might say, you know what, we could do a full rehab in this house and I've got no problem with that. You know, if I have to live in sawdust and tile grouts and, you know, everything else being broken up in my house while I'm living here, move everything to one bedroom, I got no problem. Let's do that.
Tell them to go for it.
Yeah, getting in.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I think if you're to anything you do to here is going to make it look good. But I also always remind them of the fact of, from a buyer's perspective, don't go too crazy with changing too many crazy things, okay? Because would you want to choose your own carpet or your own wall, your own painting, or your color on your walls, anything else as the buyer? Or would you want to use somebody else's choice?
Right.
My own.
Right, your own, right? So why not price accordingly, let them do that themselves, or give them the option to do it through closing. You know, you can always offer incentives back and say, you know, pick your flooring, $3,000 towards flooring, whatever. Okay. So there are some things that can be handled that way. Did that help, Karin, or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it did.
Okay, and you said anybody else? You said you had a couple more?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, here we go. If I was interested in buying an investment property, how does that differ from just buying a property that I'm going to occupy? Is there any differences in that?
Well, what do you mean by differences? Are you talking about the financing side of it, or are you talking about the actual house itself?
Yeah, no, just the financing, interest rate, like all of that. How is buying a property for me different than just buying a property as an investment?
So from the investment side of it, from the lending side, what I'd love to do is connect you with my preferred lender. That's their wheelhouse, and I don't want to, that's what they're licensed for. I help you find the house, they're going to help you pay for the house. So let me connect you with my preferred lender, Caden. He'll reach out to you and start that discussion with you to make sure he answers everything correctly.
Okay. Okay. How about the question of, like, I'm interested in buying another house in Vegas because I want to do an Airbnb.
Awesome. You know, Airbnbs are an amazing thing. Have you researched much at all as far as the current Airbnb market here in Las Vegas and the restrictions and guidelines regarding obtaining your permits?
No, I'm hoping you can tell me about that.
Well, you know what? What I do know is you must obtain a permit. There are different areas that will be allowed. Some areas won't be allowed. A lot of areas, if they're in an HOA, which approximately 80% of communities in Las Vegas are in an HOA development, they do not allow short-term rentals. As an example, in Henderson allows Airbnbs. The caveat to that, the city itself does, but the caveat to that is that you must get permission from the HOA specifically. And do you think HOAs are going to get permission for Airbnbs?
No.
Right. Okay. So it is a very unique market, and we really can't specifically say what the ground rule is because we have to find the property first before you can start doing your investigation on that. Okay. What I mean by that is because one property may qualify where another property further away from it or somewhere else may not because it's too close to another Airbnb or it's too close to a school or something else, right? There's all these different guidelines that take place. So what I normally do is find the property for you guys and I let you guys, we'll do an increased due diligence period to allow you guys time to research that specific property. Okay, because there's no set rules. You don't know until you find the property. Because if the next door neighbor is an Airbnb, chances you getting that permit are slim and none. And I don't like to go too deep into the Airbnb conversation. I like them to do their research themselves, because the last thing I want you guys to do is say, yes, this house qualifies for an Airbnb. They buy said house, and then they go to get the permits for it. And then the Vegas permitting department says, no, you can't. and I'm the one who told them they could. So that's called due diligence on your part, not mine.
So basically, Brian, it's learning what questions to ask, not what answers to give.
Exactly.
So that perfect. Okay, you and Matt, you both do that. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Back on.
It's always about the questions you ask, because you want to, once again, find out which direction they're going and try to let them shoot all their darts out.
Love it. Good question.
Anything else, Karen?
Yes, I see advertisements about selling my home for 1%. What would be the cost with you? And if you're more than 1%, why is that better?
Well, yeah. So you've seen those signs like I'll sell your house for 1% on the freeway and stuff.
Right.
Is that what you're seeing? Okay, yeah. They're out there. There are brokers out there that actually do it for $1,000 if you'd like. Okay. So, but from your experience, let me ask you, do you think there's any car out there that's worth like $200,000, like the parts and materials in it?
No.
No? Okay. But are there cars that cost $200,000 or more?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a matter of value that's out there, right? And that's what I bring to the table. Okay. I bring value. So your 1% listing, it's actually not 1% total for the house. What they're typically going to do is say 1% listing on their side, and they're going to have you do a 2.5 to 3% on the buyer's side. So you're actually looking at a 3.5 to 4% total listing. Okay. So there's just things that they can and can't do providing their value. So with a typical broker that works in that type of situation, they're about volume. Okay. Like for instance, are there more people that shop at, say, Coach Purses or Walmart? Walmart, yeah, right. Because they're dealing with bulk sales, right? They can sell things cheap because they're more focused on the quantity of people coming through the doors, much like a 1% brokerage is. They're not worried about the actual service. And do you think you're gonna get better service at Walmart or better service at a Coach store?
Definitely Coach.
Definitely Coach. Okay, all right. So, so if you want to say I'm the Coach store and they're the Walmart, that's fine. And there's shoppers for each of them. But what I'd like to do is sit down and we can talk about my specific value that I'll bring to the table, okay? So when is a good time for us to get together to discuss that?
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So the main thing you always remember, especially if you're talking like quick connections face-to-face or on the phone, you don't do a consultation on the phone, okay? You address a concern and you schedule an appointment to go over that discussion, okay? I'm not gonna go my full commission schedule and all that stuff over the phone. I'll never get a transaction that way, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I have one more.
Yep.
Oh, I actually have two more, but I'm selling my house and I have a pool and 3 fireplaces and a built-in barbecue and all that. How much more do you think I can get from the house down the street that doesn't have all of that? Otherwise, we're comparable. That's worth a lot of money, right?
Well, it sounds like your house is absolutely amazing. What I'd love to do is actually do an apples to apples comparison of your property to those other ones and do a pre-listing consultation with you. I'll drop everything off to you. We can review that when I come and schedule it, when I sit down with an appointment. Do you have 5 to 7 minutes real quick where I can ask you some questions to prepare for that appointment?
Sure.
Okay. So I'd go through the pre-listing interview at that point in time, go through the 2 pages of that, get all the questions answered on that side, and I drop off the pre-listing packet and then discuss what those benefits of her property are versus the competition. I haven't seen your house yet, right? So I haven't seen her house. I need to get into it before I can actually say, oh, well, that, it could be three fireplaces that look like junk. It could be a pool that's, full of green moss. I don't know, so I want to get into the house and actually take a look. And when I walk in, regardless of what it is, wow, you're right. You have a beautiful place, man. Those 3 fireplaces are absolutely amazing. So let's take a look at your comparable properties and see what your competition sold for and what your current market competition is on the market right now. Okay. So I'm never going to give an answer, right, as far as that goes until I sit down with them. Right.
Yeah, it's dodging and weaving and dodging and weaving.
You want to address the concerns for sure, but remember, the second you give an answer without an appointment, they're done. right? They're done with you. You're useless now at this point in time. So you want to make sure that the payoff for your information is the appointment that you're sitting down with them on. That's the payoff. I'll give you all the information you need. Let's sit down and talk. Okay. All right. Any others? Oops, and I'm sorry. Let me stop sharing. I apologize.
All right, guys. This is the only time that you have them without helping anybody else. Her question.
Well, we don't have them every Monday. Come on.
Her questions had to have sparked someone else's questions or anything like that.
So can I throw some ideas out there too, Nicole?
Yeah.
So Nicole's talking about marketing for you guys and like some things that you can do to help your business. So who do people do business with?
People they trust.
No,
right?
like, and trust.
People they know, like, and trust.
No, like, and trust. Exactly, right? No, like, and trust. So when you're talking to people, even if they're your best friend, right? They know you and they like you, but they don't trust you yet in real estate if you're just starting out. But they will. And how do you establish that trust? Is you become the person of influence in their life on real estate. So one of my agents, Scott, Scott's, when COVID first hit, okay, his main source of business prior to COVID was open houses. So when COVID hit, the first week it hit and we were closed down, he told me, he's like, what am I going to do? Right? We can't do open houses anymore. And I said, well, let's pivot and let's go to virtuals. So for about 20, I think it was 29 or 30 plus weeks straight, he did a virtual live open house every single Saturday at 1 o'clock. Right? So from doing that, he ended up getting 3 transactions, right? 2 referrals, one in Hawaii, one in Iowa, I believe it was, and Ohio or Iowa, and then one one buyer from that. Okay. So all from continually doing that. Now, what did he do? He went to these virtual live open houses. He did about a 30-minute walkthrough of the property, but during it, at the end of every single open house, and the first time there was like one person on, like Nicole had said, 0 people on, but it started growing and growing and growing. And he put a little teaser out there. Hey, got some great things to discuss with you at this virtual, because what he'd do for like the last 15 minutes of it, it's about 15 minutes or so of walkthrough of the house. In the last 15, he would kind of discuss the current market stats. So he would discuss all the KCM stuff that he talked about. Right now, the 4 biggest questions that I'm asked are this, or he might say, come to the virtual live open house, and I'll also discuss the 3 top questions that are asked to me this week, right? And they're always like the same type of 3 questions. He just words them differently, Are foreclosures going to cause a flood in the marketplace? Whatever. So he's preempting their thoughts, preempting their questions already, and they're logging in to get that answer. So he'd go through some of these stats. He'd show a couple of these slides or have printouts with them and stuff, because he was just doing Facebook Lives on these. But people that started establishing trust with people that maybe didn't trust him before. They knew him and liked him, but now he's establishing that real estate trust. Okay. So doing things like that and being that source of information on a weekly type thing is a great thing, as well as there's a gentleman in California. So he started off just kind of doing Facebook Lives, and he was going to local businesses, right? And he would just do a Q&A session with that local business. And like, Mary's Pet Shop, Freddy's Pizzeria, whatever. And he just started going to all these different shops, and it was anything and everything started off with. And after about 6 months to a year, so he started analyzing all his results. His highest viewership came through on places of food, right? People love food. So then he started really focusing on just food. And he started talking about all the new restaurants. And then he started going to them and say, hey, anybody that comes in and says that they saw this live today, they'll give you a 10% discount. He had talked to the owners obviously already, but it was started like co-marketing these things with these business owners, just these local shops. Now, do you think right now some of these shops would appreciate more advertisement as well? Right? So you go in there and say, hey, can you mind doing like a 10-minute Facebook Live with me? Talk to me about when you guys opened up, what you guys specialties are, you know, what do you guys specialize in? And, you know, would you guys give a discount? Would you guys be willing to give like a 10% discount if anybody comes in and mentions this post or something like that, right? So you start building those relationships now. So twofold, what does that do now, right? It puts you out there as the local expert on all things, right? You can throw some real estate stuff in there during your conversation. And now that business owner, do they see lots of people come to their business every single day? Right? So now that business owner starts seeing you as that local expert also. And they see hundreds of people come into their shop on a weekly, daily basis. Right? So now you get that person who's now a raving fan of yours as well. Right? So these are just some ideas for marketing that you can utilize. And you guys don't always have to know the answers. You know,
Brian, I have a question about videoing. Like, I videoed an open house, a 7,500 square foot one that I went to see yesterday. Nice. when my open house fell through. I went in there and the salesman, the real estate man, said it was fine to do it. Is it illegal to post it? Because I shared it. I didn't say where it was or anything. I just shared it.
No, what I would do is just get permission from the actual agent. Just try to get written permission, whether it be an email or a text, saying that they don't mind you hosting like an virtual open house there.
Okay. Well, it wasn't really that. It was just a few, pictures and videos I took for myself and put it on my business page. Oh, not my business, my personal, which is kind of tied in.
Yeah. I just get the permission. Say, most agents are not going to have an issue with you marketing their properties. Okay. As long as you're marketing it as your own. You can say, hey, this is a beautiful listing, that's here in Las Vegas. And here it is. Well, call me for more information. As long as you're not marketing it as your own listing.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
I want to say this is my listing.
Right. No.
Yep. Right. And remember, you guys don't have to know everything. Okay. One thing I learned very quickly in my career was my number one referral source to this day. He appreciated the fact he knew I was new. He didn't know that he was my first transaction I ever did, but he knew I was new. And he'd been in business for 26 years and he was a mortgage broker, right? So one thing he appreciated though is if I didn't know the answer, I'd say, you know what? That's a great question. I want to make sure I get the correct answer for us. I'm going to ask the team of people behind me that have 50 plus years of experience in real estate. And I'm going to get back to you on that. Is that okay with you? Oh, sure. Not a problem at all. I was just doing a class this last week. I was doing a CE class. And somebody asked me a question about how to get on the HUD list of HUD approved lenders or HUD approved agents. And the second that I went over the slide, right, because I entered in the class before, second I went over the slide, I got, oh crap, that's gonna be a question. I guarantee you, within 30 seconds, somebody goes, how do we do that? I was like, you know what? I knew you were gonna ask it. I just wrote down, find out how to get HUD approved. So the next break, I'm gonna find out, and when we come back from that 10-minute break, I will let you know for sure on how to get HUD approved. So I just bought myself some time.
Well, and then that's a great way to get their email.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know the answer, be like, I'll get that answer for you.
Yep.
Give me your email. Ding, ding, database.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you don't get so concerned that you have to know everything. Really, you don't. You want to know enough to get by. And if it has lending, remember, you are just one piece of the entire real estate puzzle, right? So what do? You guys specialize in finding people their house or helping them sell their house, right? You guys don't have to be the mortgage expert. You don't have to be the staging expert. You don't have to be the moving expert. What you need to be is much like Ford, right? When he was asked certain questions, he's like, no, I don't know, but I know where to get the answer from. You become that professional that knows everybody. And you're just the connector. You say, you know what? Great question. Lending, I'm a preferred lender over here, Cade, and he'll take care of you. Right? And you get them to the people that they need to get the correct answers from. And they appreciate that because they realize that you're the connector. Okay. Any other questions?
Questions? Any questions for me other than Brian? None for me, you guys. Brian stole my show today.
I'm sorry.
No, just kidding.
I have a question, Nicole. If we're doing these Facebook Lives, do you recommend having somebody else be there to be the camera person? Because I can only imagine Scott. Like, what was Scott doing? Like,
I think he actually had a selfie stick.
Yeah, he started off with nothing because he said, "What do I need?" And I said, "Well, what do you need for an open house?" And he said, "A house, me, and signs." I said, "Okay, so minus the signs. So what do you need for this virtual live open house? Because you can't do signs." He goes, "Me and a house." I go, "Pretty much so." You know, he started off just taking it with his camera. I mean, he literally turned his phone around. There were times where like, oh, at first he didn't know how to like switch on the phone. So like, okay, guys, here you go. And he turned the phone around physically, like, okay. And then he realized, oh, you can push this button and it turns around, right?
Cool.
So
you can do it just right where you're sitting. I mean, it doesn't have to be in a house or like in a property. It doesn't have to be outside. It doesn't have to, I mean, it can be just comfort of your office.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be anywhere. I mean,
they have that green screen set up somewhere, don't they?
At Summerlin. Yep.
Right.
Yep. I mean, as long as you're not sitting on a toilet, you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you could be.
Unless you want to show people that side of you, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
Is there any cautions? I was thinking about new home builds and showing new homes, but then should we worry that now people are going to go to that new home without us and then we miss out on the commission? Any strategy on that, or don't do it? Or
my recommendation would be do it. You always want to get permission from the builder. Okay. Some will allow you to say the name or not. I normally don't personally, because it's just like an open house, just like anything. You have to have something left for them to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So,
that's a lot of the marketing is you want to keep a lot of the information like quiet because you want to keep them hungry to contact you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to tell them like how many bedrooms or the price or things like that because you want them to contact you to ask you, well, you didn't say the price or you didn't say how many bedrooms and baths. Well, because that was on purpose because I wanted you to contact me to let me tell you that privately, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, how would a teaser be like? You're in a house and you're like, oh my gosh, guys, check out this absolutely beautiful home here in the Summerlin area or in the west side of Vegas. This house is absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at this bedroom. Look at this bathroom. Now, the average build time right now is 8 to 9 months for most houses. I have a list of houses that are available for quick move-in. If you'd like to know more about some of those houses, feel free to give me a call. Right? Because then what do? You get them on the phone and say, and they, oh, well, which ones do you have? Say, well, tell me a little bit. What are you looking for? What area? You know, I have a few in mind. Let me make some calls real quick. I'll get right back to you, see if they're still available. Then what do? You got their details of price range. You got everything they're looking for. Right? So you start calling builders. You go onto your new home search and you start looking for quick move-ins. Contact your online concierge for different builders that you know and say, hey, this is what I've got. I got this, this, and this. What do you have available for quick move-in? Then you call them back and say, you know what? Looks like we got 3 properties that match the criteria that are quick move-in within the next 2 months. All right? I mean, it's a teaser, you know, and they call you up and they give you all the information they want.
Just like a movie.
Yeah.
You know, those dang cliffhangers that you just want to keep watching and binge watching because of that cliffhanger. And you're like, oh, darn it, just one more. And then like 5 more you're into it. And it's just like, really? 3 a.m. and you're still going. Well,
so last night, Nicole, my son and I were watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
Right, on Netflix.
Yeah.
And we watched, I said, first we're only going to watch one episode and we're going to go to bed. So it's at the end of it, and it's like the cliffhanger ends. You're like, oh, well, what's going to happen next? And I'm like, I know, but we got to go to bed. No, let's just watch one more. Okay, fine, we'll watch one more. Then they go to that next one. He's like, oh, what's going to happen next? I go, D, we're going to be up all night doing this. Okay. We've got to go to bed, you know?
They stink. They get you.
Yeah.
They get you. That's, yeah. I watched a whole season in one day because of that.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, I got to watch the next one. Oh, just one more. No, I got to watch the next one.
Yeah. So do the
that's
thing.
kind of like marketing.
Yeah. Do the same thing with your business as well. You know,
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm still looking forward to next week when we sit down and talk. Next week I got three other questions that'll be asked. The top questions they get asked for me for the week. You know, you're teasing them. Oh my gosh, what's going to be asked this week? Well, the same stuff that was asked last week, but just worded differently. You know.
Yep.
Update your stats. Get some new information for them. You know what? Oh my gosh, guys. You know, if you've been hearing in the news lately, there's a flood of foreclosures coming. I'm going to have an update on how many distressed properties are available on the market on Saturday. I'm looking forward to seeing you all Saturday at 11 o'clock, whenever you're going to do this Q&A session, right? Then they come on and go, guys, guess what? This week there's 8 available. Oh, that was a letdown, but they came on, you know?
Yeah. And don't say it till the end, not the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
The end.
Yeah.
Because they have to stay on for your full Q&A to get how many foreclosures.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, all right.
Perfect.
Any other questions you guys have?
I have one.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So what do you do if there's a client or a potential client that is working with 2 different realtors, and they might have I don't know if they have a BBA already signed, but what do you do if there's that type of people?
Make sure they don't have one signed.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure they don't have a BBA signed, because if they do have a BBA sign, it's confirmed. What do you need to do? Stand down, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stand down. You guys, hands off. Okay, cool. We cannot, as realtors, we cannot incite somebody to cancel their contract with another agent. Okay?
Well, what if they sign one with you, but they're still talking to another realtor?
Okay. Well, they obviously didn't understand what that entails then. Okay. So we need to make sure we're explaining and we have clarification with them on what that BBA represents, that buyer's brokerage agreement represents with them, that we are their exclusive agent that they'll be working with. Okay. And if they were to buy a house with another agent, they will also owe us a commission as well.
Okay.
So they're going to be paid 2 commissions instead of 1.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? So normally what I recommend is, lots of times I'll ask somebody, you know, it happens a lot in open houses. So open houses, you guys be doing those, and somebody says, oh yeah, I'm working with an agent. Okay. They just kind of throw that information out there. If you're asking a question that incites that answer, you're asking the wrong questions, number one. Okay. But if somebody throws it at you, oh no, we're already working with an agent. My normal response is like that. Oh, that's awesome. You know what? Let me ask you a quick question. Is this probably one of the largest purchases that you're ever going to make in your life?
Right. Where's your agent?
Yep. Yeah. You know what? It is. It definitely is. I agree. You know, it's a pretty big decision. Let me ask you another question. When you make big decisions, do you like to have as many people looking out for your best interest as possible? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, you know what? I'd love to be one of those people as well. As long as you haven't signed a buyer's brokerage agreement with that agent, it doesn't hurt to have 4 eyes looking for you than just 2 right now, especially in this market, right? Oh yeah, no, we didn't sign a BBA. No, that.
Oh, so you can say that. Okay.
4 eyes.
All right.
4 eyes looking for me. Yeah, that's fine. Not a problem at all. I'd love to be able to find you a house. So if I was to find you a house, would you guys buy a house with me? Yeah. Okay, great. Not a problem. Let's get working. I'd love to bring you guys in. I have a process to take all my clients through. Do you like to be efficient with your time, Celeste? Do you like to be efficient with your time?
Well, of course.
Of course. You know what? I do too. In light of that, let's go ahead and do this. I have a process that I take all my buyers through. And what it does is make sure we're efficient with your time. It'll make sure that you don't miss out on anything that matches your criteria out there in the marketplace. And it'll also make sure that you don't pay too much for that property. How's that process sound to you?
That sounds actually really good. You do all that?
I do all that. So it seems like you like to look at house on weekends. So how about next Sunday at 2 o'clock? Does that work for you?
Well, that would be perfect. I'm going to fire my agent. No,
sounds good. I'll set you up for 2 o'clock next Sunday. And you know what? We'll meet at my office. I'll text the address. Okay.
Wow.
What's the best phone number for me to text you?
Perfect. Oh, and I'll tell you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right? Great. And you know what? I'll go and send you some information regarding that consultation process also. What's the best email address for you?
Perfect. Oh, sorry. I'm just getting all these ideas from you.
Okay.
Brian, one other question that Matt had brought up today. I mean, that answered first, that same scenario. He would say, in a nice way, he would say, really, kind of like what you did, the biggest purchase of your life, pretty much. Where's your agent? As an agent, I like to bring my people around. Where's your agent? Or something to that effect.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Same thing. You know, so did your agent just tell you to go look at open houses on your own, or he's not there representing you? Wow.
Exactly.
I would never do that to one of my agents or one of my clients. Yeah, you know, he said he's too busy for us. Wow. Okay. So is your agent any better than Zillow then? Because you can just look on Zillow and find your own house, right? I wouldn't say that, but yeah.
Don't send anyone to Zillow, Brian.
I know. Don't bash people. So.
Brian, you just brought something up, and since you're here for the question, is Zillow no longer somehow getting information from MLS? Was there something that just recently came out where third party, like, I don't know if I understood that the third party sites are not getting access to the information, or what was that about?
I'm not positive if I'm understanding what you're talking about. So the most recent thing that I'm aware of, okay, is that Zillow has become a brokerage now.
Yep.
In many states. So now they have direct access to the MLS versus before it was through a third-party server, an IDX server.
So that might help a little bit, hopefully.
What's that?
I said that might help a little bit then, hopefully.
Yes and no. So yeah, because they are a brokerage now, there's lots of things that they can do now that they couldn't do before through the IDX site. Now they can promote their listings first and foremost, is one of the challenges that people are running into. So is Zillow like the largest portal for people to go to typically?
One of them. Mm-hmm.
One of them, right? So they have a huge drawing for people to go to them. And if they're only showing their listings first, that could be a challenge. So a lot of agents that have been paying Zillow for years, lots of money, which is money not well spent in my opinion, but we'll keep that out of it. A lot of them are upset right now because they've been paying for years, tens and thousands of dollars. And now that now Zillow listings are being promoted first.
Okay, that leads to another question. If I look at my house on Zillow, why can't I rely on that information as being the gospel for like listing prices and stuff?
Well, so as far as
like it says my house is worth X amount of dollars.
Okay.
And maybe your CMA is different. Why would that be? Doesn't Zillow know?
Now they will.
Yeah. So, well, yes and no. So here's the thing. So, and what I do is I love the page on, so you can look at a couple things. On your guys' CMA, there's a page that says online valuation. Okay. On the CMA, it says online valuation. It's Zillow's estimates that are on there. And on that page, I really like that one. Obviously, if it works in your favor, use it, because many times you'll see a discrepancy of, I mean, it used to be as high as like 7-8%. Now typically 3 or 4% off, where you can and I literally sit down with clients and I'll say, so Karin, do me a quick question, do me a quick favor here. What's the Zestimate for the first property right there? And they'll go, oh, whatever. Okay. And what did that property sell at? So let's just say, oh, the Zestimate's $450,000. Okay. What did it sell at? Oh, $440,000. Oh, look, okay, and that's about a 3% discrepancy, whatever it is, right? So okay, so Zillow was about 3% off on that one. Okay, and I go down the list and I'll hit 2 or 3 of the main ones that were fairly off. And I said, you know, I already did the math for you guys. Your neighborhood is off by approximately 3.7%. So if we were to take yours estimate and I pull their estimate out and I show them and say, yours estimate says this right now. Is that what you guys saw? Because they always looked already, right? Yeah, that's what we saw. Okay. So here's the thing. If we're to take that philosophy, your house should be marketed or will probably sell for about 3.7% less than what this says right here. Right? So is that what you want to price it at? Sometimes it's 7-8% variance. Now here's one thing that you want to do too, is you can go back and look at the history of the listings. And what you'll see is, let's just say it says 400, 400, 410, 400, 405, 410, whatever. You'll see its history. And then the house was listed for 450 and it skyrocketed up. All of a sudden the Zestimate went up to $449,000 or something, or $452,000. And when the house sold, it was readjusted again for whatever it sold for. So Zillow's gotten very smart now to where they're trying to get everything as accurate as possible. But the second the house gets listed, they change their Zestimate to what the current listing is, or right around that current listing price. Right.
I know they used to be off a lot, but now that they're a brokerage, an actual brokerage, and they have that MLS access, aren't they a little more? I mean, like you said, 3 or 4% still, a little bit off.
They could still be off, but what you want to think about too is, has Zillow been in your house?
No.
No. Okay. So here's a great example for you. Are you familiar with the area over behind Red Rock Casino? That right,
yes.
There's some houses there, and there's some houses that are 2- and 3-story homes. There's some single stories as well, but they're decent sized homes. 2,000 plus square feet, 2,500 plus square feet, and a lot of them. But right across the street is Red Rock Country Club. Okay. So if I'm looking at like a Zestimate here, right, and I'm just pulling up an area, I have one side of the road that's $500,000, and then I have one side of the road that's $850,000. Okay. So do you see how a Zestimate could possibly be off? Because does that computer know that?
Right. Good.
Right. That's where the real life person like myself doing a comprehensive market analysis for you personally. I'm not some computer that's just running off of algorithms.
Right.
Okay. I know that your house with the granite countertops is much nicer than the house with the tile countertops. The Zestimate's not going to work.
Okay.
So when would be a good time for me to come in and do that market analysis for you?
Right. There you go.
Okay. Any other questions, you guys?
Bo had a question.
Bo, what you got, Bo?
I just wanted to ask you, Nicole, is there any training on that green screen chroma key on how to do videos and edit? And
I think Eric could probably teach you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or YouTube it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Could do that too. No.
Yeah.
Eric could teach you for sure.
And guys,
he does a lot of it.
We have a saying in the office. Karin, you've heard the saying. What's the saying in the office about the letters?
A shitty letter you actually get out is better than no letter at all.
Yep.
Got it in a way.
Yeah. Yep. My crappy letter will beat your non-existent letter any day of the week. Okay. So
right.
Just remember, guys, I mean, it's about progression, not perfection to start off with. And I know that's very hard for many people. It was very difficult for me when I first started. I have a lot of perfection personality in me, and I always want things to be perfect before I did them. And I started seeing people to the left and right of me that were getting deals. And I was like, that guy doesn't even know how to tie his shoes. I'm like, what the heck, Look at his website. Oh my gosh, mine's got the perfect coloration. I've got all the SEO data on my website, and he's getting deals just because he was talking to somebody and throwing himself out there. So it's progression over time. You're going to find what works best for you. Okay. People, a lot of times will relate to, we'll call it polished, but also people like just natural. They do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So just be in a position where you can know, like, and trust, where it doesn't come off so like, oh my gosh, you're perfectly polished. It comes off as real, So, I got one of my agents, she drives through neighborhoods and she has her camera on, facing out at the front window of her car, because she got one of the little magnet things in the front, goes out the front, and she'll do a Facebook Live. Like, hey guys, I just happened to be pulling into, Pecola Ranch area. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see this yet. I'm making a left-hand turn. See, there's the front entrance of that. Yep. As you come in, man, there's a beautiful park on your left-hand side there. So she'll do like a 30-second, sometimes it's a 3 or 4 minute drive-through a community. But it's literally the phone's just sitting there bouncing with her car, whatever. And she's just driving along. You don't even see her because she doesn't like to be on camera, But she'll do these community drive-throughs, you know. Hey, so when you guys get in the area, the left-hand turn, there's that park right there, and she'll pull in the parking lot. Look at that right there. What splash pad, summertime, hello, you know, and she'll back out, say, guys, look, the school's right down the street here, right? But she's building that relationship with these people over and over again. They're just seeing her on the camera going, or, you know, hearing her voice, at least on this one, where they realize, oh my gosh, she knows all these different areas, right?
Love it.
So progression, not perfection. And you guys will get to the point where it looks so polished, but don't try to line everything up first. Start sending the letters out, start doing the marketing, start doing the posts. And as you get along, you're going to go, you know, Scott realized it was that at one point in time, he could actually, instead of turning his phone, that he could push the button on his phone. You know, it's like, whoa, wow, aha moment. Oh my gosh, this is like the whole 2020 science here, you know, changed his world for him. So.
Oh, I could just see Scott doing that.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious.
Totally.
Awesome. All right, guys. Any more questions? We made it to my hour mark. Yay!
Beautiful.
Woo!
It was very, very informational. Thank you.
Awesome. You guys have questions?
We always try to make the hour mark, Brian, on my Zooms.
Oh, nice. That's
yeah.
awesome.
If we don't, we just sit here and we try to just talk until the hour's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hope I didn't bore anybody.
Or moving on up, Matt Rodriguez, who plays his music until we make the hour mark as well. So nice. We'll sit here and we'll just try to make the hour mark. We don't like to leave before the hour.
Before the hour? So you guys schedule it, you're good to go. I just put my number in the chat thread. If you guys have questions anytime, remember all the brokers are here for you. Worthy's one big happy family.
Thank you, Brian.
You let us know, okay?
Oh, there's Matt's music.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, thank you, Brian, for joining us.
No problem. Anytime, guys. Have a fantastic day, everybody.
Yes,
happy selling out there.